Welcome to Buckeyes Tomorrow Morning for Tuesday, August 29th. I'm your host, Tom Orr. The Notre Dame game is in 4 days, the game against Michigan in 88 days. This weekend's big game means it is also a big recruiting weekend for the Buckeyes, quite possibly the biggest one of the entire season. They are bringing in some of the very best high school seniors in the country, including a 5-star former Notre Dame commit, that might be a little awkward, to try and close the deal and bring them into the 2023 recruiting class. My guest today has been absolutely killing it on this recently. He is Buckeye Huddle recruiting analyst Alex Gleitman. Alex, thanks for being here.
Yeah, Tom, appreciate it. Apologies in advance if my sound or internet aren't the best. I'm down in Long Beach Island, New Jersey for the week with my kids before they go back to school and grinding away on the big recruiting weekend coming up. So, looking forward to talking about it with you.
Yeah, no days off. This is maybe the end of summer and a little bit of vacation. No days off. This is high season for recruiting. So glad you could be here. Before we get started, could you kind of briefly explain what's actually going to happen on some of these official visits that we're going to be talking about? And I think people, if you're in the stands, you see the guys walk out of the tunnel, and then you see them stand on the field during pregame, and then they're sitting in the first few rows of the stands behind the Ohio State bench during the game. But for the rest of an official visit weekend, what else are they doing?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's everything you would think about when you talk about a recruiting weekend. I mean, these kids are coming up. They're seeing what it's like to be an Ohio State football player for the 48 hours that they're allowed on campus for their official visit. They're spending time with the team on Friday night. Maybe that's, going to the team dinner and seeing what that speech is like. At the team dinner before the team kind of heads into the Blackwell to kind of go to sleep for the night. They're doing probably during the day on Saturday. They're doing the academic tour. They're doing the facility tour. They're seeing the stadium, seeing some dorms, things along those lines, meeting with Mickey Marotti, meeting with the nutritionist staff, meeting with all the different support staff teams, having meetings with the coaches, their position coaches, as well as head coach Ryan Day. That probably takes place, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. With this Saturday being College Game Day, they're probably headed to College Game Day to check out that set and, kicking off really. I mean, I know there was week 0 this past weekend, but this is really the kickoff of college football, and they're doing it at Ohio State for what is arguably the biggest game of the season, as far as a hyped up matchup goes between two storied franchises or programs, both ranked in the top 5 right now. So, I mean, look, it's going to be, an action-packed, probably day and a half, and then come game time, they're going to bring them to the stadium, they're going to bring them to the recruiting room, they're going to take them down to the field during warm-ups, they're going to get amazing seats to watch the game and get a really great perspective of how the coaches interact with the players during the game and things like that. Hopefully be able to, some of them go into the locker room afterwards and see how the team's celebrating after a big win, go out with their player hosts and celebrate even more. And then, as I said, Sunday kind of have the Sunday morning on a game weekend is really when those real conversations with the coaches and staff are going to happen, because those guys are so focused on getting the team ready to play on Saturday night. So, Sunday morning is going to be really big as far as, sitting down with your position coach, sitting down with Ryan Day, and really just, having that quality one-on-one time before you head out and head home.
You mentioned celebrating a couple times and being in the locker room to celebrate a win and going out to celebrate after the game. There have been some of these big official visit weekends in recent years where Ohio State has not had a lot to celebrate after the game. I think there were a lot of guys in town for the Oregon game last year, and that was not a real chipper post-game locker room, I don't think, after the Oregon game last year. Very famously, the 2014 Virginia Tech game, the primetime game, they had a lot of big names in there, and that game didn't go real well. 2017 Oklahoma. A lot of these have not necessarily turned out well for Ohio State. So how big of a difference does that make, whether you win or lose, for while you've got these guys on campus?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's one game is never going to make or break a recruitment. Now, does it make your experience that much better when the coaching staff is jovial, the players are jovial, you're seeing the whole campus like elated and celebrating a huge victory, especially like this one over Notre Dame, start the season off the right way, hopefully in a very convincing fashion. I think it obviously does make your experience better versus being around guys who are not happy that they just lost a big-time football game to start their season. But at the end of the day, these kids are sitting down and they're saying, what is the best place for me to achieve my goals, whatever those may be? Is that, playing college football for 4 years, getting a degree, and being in a family atmosphere and getting a good education? Is it trying to get developed as best as I possibly can to make the NFL, win national championships while I'm at Ohio State, make a lot of NIL money, whatever it is? I mean, these guys are individually evaluating how Ohio State can help them do whatever it is that they want to do over the next 3 to 5 years, and then, the next 40 years beyond that. And yes, winning a game, again, makes that weekend and that experience that much better. But if Ohio State's doing these visits right, and I think they do pretty much for the most part, these kids should be leaving feeling a certain way about Ohio State, that it's going to set them up for success in whatever that it is that they want to do and they want to accomplish during their college years.
Now, you've had a couple big reports about some guys who are visiting just over the last few days. The first one was about that former Notre Dame commit that I mentioned earlier, 5-star 2023 defensive end Keon Keely. I know there were some recent crystal ball picks projecting him to Alabama, but getting him on campus this weekend feels like that's probably a pretty big deal for Ohio State.
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge deal for Ohio State. It's, Tony posted on the board, it's like the Rushman weekend, and, Keon Keely is a big-time player for Ohio, for anyone in the country to get, for Alabama, for Ohio State, for Georgia, for Clemson. And, having just decommitted from Notre Dame, I mean, Ohio State's been working on this one for a long time. They had him up in March for an unofficial visit. That was when the door slightly cracked open. And after that visit, they were hopeful. The plan that they discussed with Keon was getting him back for an official visit this weekend for this game, and that's exactly what they're doing. So I would say they're exactly where they need to be in this recruitment. Obviously, Alabama's had him on campus for 2 unofficial visits. I'm sure they'll get him back for an official visit at some point this fall. They are probably the team to beat right now, but there's a lot of optimism inside the Woody Hayes Athletic Center that Ohio State has a very realistic chance to bring in Keon Keely in this class, and that would be an absolutely huge win for Larry Johnson, Ryan Day, and the rest of the staff at a big position of need, in my opinion.
Yeah, getting him on campus doesn't feel like that's going to lock him up for Ohio State, but getting him on campus again felt like that was kind of a necessary precursor if they were going to be a significant player in this one moving forward. So they have done that. He will be here this weekend, so that's going to keep an eye on. Now, that's an official visit. There's another 5-star defensive end who will be visiting this weekend on an unofficial visit. That's Mateo Ugelele. That was another guy you reported on over the weekend. He is the younger brother of Clemson's quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei, if that last name sounds familiar. Now, he's coming from all the way across the country, from out in California. And this one is particularly interesting because it is an unofficial visit. So can you explain why that's a big deal and where you think things stand maybe with him right now?
Yeah, I mean, in layman's terms, for those who aren't as familiar, basically an official visit is paid for in full by the school. An unofficial visit is paid for in full by the prospect and their family. And so Mateo Ugelele has come to Ohio State on unofficial visits in the past, came to Ohio State in the summer for an official visit, and so he has no more official visits left. You only get one of those. You get 5 of them, but you get only 1 per school. So him coming from California, I'm sure his dad's coming as well, if not, more than just that. But him coming, paying out of his own pocket to come to Ohio State this weekend and check out this game. I mean, that speaks volumes of his interest in Ohio State. You're not spending your own money, and right now flights are not cheap. I will tell you that. I'm sure hotels were not easy to get for this game either. And they're certainly not cheap either, especially, you're coming from California. You're not just popping in for the day and flying back out. So, this is a significant financial investment by this family of 5-star Mateo Ugelele to come from California, come to Ohio State, spend multiple days, not just watching a football game, but with this staff, seeing what it's like to be a player at Ohio State, because, again, that official visit came in the summer. They probably got more one-on-one personal time with the staff, but now they really get to see what it's like to be a football player at Ohio State this weekend on a big-time game weekend like you're going to see on Saturday night.
Those are just 2 of the kind of big 2023 guys who are going to be on campus, but there are some 2024 guys as well. All of these guys are here on unofficials. You're not going to be on an official if you're just a high school junior. You got to wait until your senior year to be doing that. But one of the names to know in the class of 2024 is KJ Bolden. He is a top 5 overall player in the class of 2024. He's listed as an athlete right now. Can you tell us a little bit about Bolden? does Ohio State have a place where they think he might fit? He's not going to be an athlete once he shows up at Ohio State. So do they know kind of where he might fit, or if there's a decision between a couple different positions for him, and then where things may stand with him in terms of him and Ohio State right now?
Yeah, I mean, he's listed at 6'1", 185, so I think right now the plan is look at him as a safety. If I believe, I can't fully remember. I think he might be related to Perry Eliano in some way, shape, or form. So, outside of, Ohio State just having a good line into Georgia, KJ having been up to Ohio State before, having a good visit, liking the school, liking everything they have to offer, I do believe that he is... related. I think it's to Perry Eliano, maybe Tim Walton. He's related to one of the Ohio State coaches for sure. And I think that that's obviously going to be a huge help in this recruitment. So, getting him on campus for this weekend, I mean, as you said, he's rated early on as a top, I think 24/7 has him at 3. The composite has him at number 4, if my memory serves me correct, and the number 1 safety, number 1 player in Georgia for the class of 2024. So anytime you could get that caliber prospect up on your campus, that's a win. But I think Ohio State feels that they have a very realistic shot to land KJ Bolden when push comes to shove.
And one more 2024 player. This one, he's a top 15 overall player in the 247 composite. I think 247's own rankings had him in the top 5 or 10. That is Ryan Wingo. He is a wide receiver out of St. Louis. That is both a position group and a city where Ohio State has had a lot of recruiting success recently, including some wide receivers from St. Louis. So what should people know about Ryan Wingo?
Yeah, I mean, he's a big-time receiver, and obviously, Ohio State, Brian Hartline have done a tremendous job recruiting big-time receivers, and I believe this is his first time up on campus this coming weekend. He confirmed to me that he will be coming up from St. Louis to Columbus to check out the Buckeyes, and look, I mean, hopefully they win, but, either way, the atmosphere and all the excitement on campus this weekend is going to probably make a great first impression on him. So I'd have to imagine Ohio State, I don't know too much, honestly. I think, again, first time, just trying to feel things out. It's still early in his recruitment. 2024 kid. He's a highly ranked kid, but still early in his recruitment. There's no favorites just yet, so they'll have a great chance to make a first impression. I think the one good thing maybe going for Ohio State a little bit here, same high school, and he's a teammate on the team of Landon Pace, 2025 tight end, who has an offer from Ohio State. His father, a guy you might know, Orlando Pace. So, not saying that has any bearing on Ryan Wingo's decision, but look, I mean, Landon Pace, he'll be on campus this weekend as well, has an offer, his dad's around the program. Certainly can't hurt Ohio State, that's for sure.
Yeah, and has an older brother who's a walk-on on the program. Jalen Pace is a walk-on for Ohio State right now. So, yeah, Landon was at one of the camps over the summer, met his mom. His dad was not there, but his dad, yes, will be there on Saturday. So, yes, he'll be probably easy to find. Not too hard, never too hard to pick out Orlando Pace in a crowd. Is there one name, whether it's someone we've talked about or, maybe someone else who's visiting, who you would potentially have on commitment watch, or who, you think is at least a possibility to commit following a visit this weekend? Is there anyone that would kind of fall in that category for you?
It's tough. I mean, I don't think the 2023 guys are, you never know, but I don't think that those guys are ready to commit. So you're probably looking at 2024 guys. I don't want to give away too much because in my A deck this week, I might be touching on that a little bit. But, I would say you look at this list and you probably look at some guys that maybe have been to Ohio State a few times, for unofficial visits and are doing so again on their own dime, or maybe some in-state guys. There's a couple in-state guys. A couple of them do have offers. So I would say maybe look at those guys, and, if you're not a member of Buckeye Huddle, perfect time to be, so you can find out who I'm talking about in the A deck this week.
There you go. As someone who's worked more than a few years in the TV business, that's what we call a tease. So yes, check out BuckeyeHuddle.com, sign up to be a member. That information will be on the Huddle message board in Alex's A-Deck column this week. Finally, this is not only a big recruiting weekend for football, this is also a big recruiting weekend for Ohio State basketball. They've got, I think, all of their 2023 commits on campus, I believe, this weekend. But also, there's another name sort of floating around as a possible visitor this weekend. What is the latest on a potential visit from, we talked about Orlando Pace's kid, another player with a rather famous father, Bronny James. What's the latest on him?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, oldest son of LeBron James, and 2023 prospect. Ohio State in the last few weeks has been linked and rumored to have interest in him, as I think they should. He's a top 50 prospect, and all the benefits that come with having LeBron James kid come to your school. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer, even though they technically don't have room in this class. And we'll see. I think, anytime LeBron was supposed to come to the Oregon game last year, I know someone who was supposed to come with him, and he ended up just changing his plans or not being able to come last minute, and a couple weeks before decided he wasn't going to come. So the rumor and the buzz has been that LeBron's coming, Bronny's going to come with him, he'll meet with the basketball staff while on campus. But, Tom, I'm going to yield to you on the field Saturday, a few hours before the game. We're going to look for your eyes to spot Bronny James and LeBron. I think you're going to, until people see them in the flesh it doesn't matter what's really said before.
Yeah, that will be a real game time decision there. What is he there or is he not there? And yes, I will be there. Yes, Kevin Noon will be there. Yes, Tony Gerdeman will be there. We'll all be there at the stadium covering the game. We have some big plans for pre and post game. Alex is going to be a part of our pregame show, talking a little bit more of a recruiting focus. We're going to have a little bit of an X's and O's focus. We'll have a little bit of maybe a tailgating scene, a little behind-the-scenes stuff, a whole bunch of stuff, plus all the good usual pregame stuff. And that'll be before the game. After the game, we've got a whole bunch of post-game stuff planned for you as well. The only way you'll be able to see it, though, is by being a subscriber to our YouTube channel. So make sure, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you hit that bell so you get notified as soon as we go live with our pregame coverage, our postgame coverage. There's going to be a lot to talk about before the game. There's going to be a lot to talk about after the game. We'll see. We'll see what the mood is. We'll see if the recruits are going out into a celebratory campus after the game. But as someone who has done some post-game coverage, post-game shows for games where Ohio State fans are feeling pretty good after, those are always kind of a lot of fun. You guys are always in a pretty good mood, and those night games can get a little feisty in the comments, but that's always a good time as well. So make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel. Also, make sure you are subscribed to BuckeyeHuddle.com. Alex mentioned that ADEC column that is just loaded with good stuff every weekend. Really good insight on all sorts of stuff with Ohio State football and basketball recruiting, upcoming visits. How did the visits go? Not just the sort of top line stuff. Really digging into stuff with the current team, really digging into what's really happening behind the scenes with the recruiting. Much more. Mark Givler, of course, has his Skull Session column. Tony Gerdeman, Kevin Noon doing great team coverage. Ross Fulton, Justin Whitlatch, Devin Radcliffe, killing it with the X's and O's. We've got everything covered. It's all at BuckeyeHuddle.com. Sign up today. I promise it's going to be a really, really fun week on the site. And I got to tell you, I've worked in an office in Columbus on a big game week before. Nobody wants to work, so just give yourself something. Give yourself something to distract yourself. Kill some time on the countdown to Saturday at BuckeyeHuddle.com. That'll do it for today. Thank you guys all for joining us. Have a great day. We'll talk to you tomorrow.